take it away.
Thank you, Tim. Hi, my name is Doug Strother. I'm currently in an Azure DSC, Azure infrastructure role, getting brought around the stack wherever asked. When I was doing some training this year, I noticed that there were some features that I felt were really valuable, particularly along the lines of SQL Server, which isn't my primary skill, but it's something that's, as an old school platforms person, it was always part of. And the main thing I want to do is just show you some of these features and evangelize them from the training perspective, but using an example where in the past I might have to get another SME or team up with a SQL person or add them to my team. And that's still probably true in the enterprise. But what this gives us, yes.
Hey, is your video on? I didn't know if you wanted to kind of present.
It's not video, but I should share my screen. Excuse me.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. And that's not.
I'll turn mine off.
Hold on. This is the one. And I'm going to bounce between a couple of screens and let me get this off. What happened in the last week, Thursday of last week, I was contacted by Microsoft Security Incident Response and my CSAM, and one of my customers was a victim of a nation state cyber attack, APT, Advanced Persistent Threat, APT 35. I'm going to distribute an APT buyer's guide just as a reference from the GSA. And it was very interesting. And as we went through, somebody in this in the customer organization had done a superior to other aspects of the organization job with their SQL backups, encryption, things of that nature. And that data was protected in this breach. They had an edge firewall, was 2 years since the last time it had been patched. Phosphorus, as we call them at Microsoft, that group is doing password spraying all over the world, and which is a brute force attack. And they used a known vulnerability to a known line of firewalls, and we think that's how they started going in. So instead of using just to put up a SQL server as an example, I want to do the database module, because I want to emphasize that this is very much about these labs and this particular feature that I'm going to get to in a sec. So, and many of you may be familiar with this, maybe it's old hat, but we'll decide. So you have learning paths, things of that nature. I put the parent learning path in the chat and the sub learning path and a screenshot of what these table of contents is, okay? And when you're in here, yes, there's reading, and if it's required, sometimes we're blowing through it as quickly as we can, or going, looking at something else or testing out. But these exercises are getting more prevalent and, in my opinion, more valuable. So I had done this. This is kind of like a cooking show, because I can't be here and if things fail, but I've already run through this, and the 3 exercises from this module: configuring backups, configuring retention policy, and deleting some data and bringing it back up. And I think I can do that while we're talking anew. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to leave this up in case I'm going to put it over here in case I need to reference it. I'm going to get busy with the demo right now. So, and all of our customers have access to docs.microsoft.com/learn. They can log in with either an external Microsoft account or their corporate credentials. If they log in with their corporate credentials, they may even get better menus of training, but everything is available to our customers. I'm using this all the time to spot train, to refresh people. But what's really cool about it is, it is a, it comes with a, they provide you with a sandbox, okay? So let's just do this. And the sandbox is a real fully featured environment for whatever you're trying to do. So you don't have to build out everything just to get a concept. And there's even a warning on the sandbox that if you use it in a way it's not intended for, I don't know, you could be banned for life or something, but the point is that it is many times fully featured. So we would navigate here and learn. I'm just going to go right to it. And I'm not, you know, just as you know, you've got all of this stuff here and you can search however you wish. All right. In the chat window, we've got this link. Okay, so it brings me here. And you've seen this already. This is in there, but I'm just going to go right up to the exercise and get busy. So here's the deal. Sandbox. See what's happening here? This is building an environment for me with untold hidden assets. So once again, when you have to work on a discrete topic or a discrete subject, you don't have to keep rebuilding out your whole environment or reconstituting it if you don't need to. So this is going to go relatively quickly. Also, yes.
The thing that's nice about the sandbox, I was just going to say, is that it doesn't burn against your own subscription. You just keep it going, correct?
You're absolutely correct. And to emphasize that in a moment, after we get down here, we will go here. Actually, I'm logged in. I'm going to see if I could do it now. And this exercise and many exercises are based are set up to do between the console and the command line. But you can see that I'm in this subscription now, which is the Microsoft Learn Sandbox. And it is, when you're doing this, helpful to keep that serial number, you know, prevalent, but you can find it easy enough. And that to Tim's point, this isn't costing us anything, right? Well, it's no additional cost, it's included. So getting back here for a moment, we go here, and I am just going to be copying most of this, but you know, obviously you would have to do some level of customization for your customer. All right, on this step, you set a hardened password yourself. That's the way this lab works, at least the way it worked earlier. Okay, so now we're in and we want to create this. So we got to set some variables. And if not, like I said, if this doesn't work immediately, we'll just keep moving. The actual build out of this, and which is why I'm going to bounce between what I've already got done and this, could take a few minutes, and we don't want to be, you know, wasting your time. But it sets up a server, all right, which is really nice. Once you've got the variables in there, and once that's up, we'll create a database. While that's cooking, you've got some screenshots here, and as you're directing your customers or your colleagues or yourself through it, bear in mind that there's updates to the interface all the time, okay? And just have to use somewhat, be somewhat intuitive. And that'll make sense in a second when I show the aspects. So, okay, what just happened? Hence my cooking show. Oh no, okay, sorry. I guess I'm not going to be able to go back to my old, the stuff I had already prepared, but it doesn't matter. We'll move very quickly through this. So, what a shame. All right, do it again. Give me 1 second here. It's going to take a moment. When you're navigating, if you're not doing this, or you've got to, you know, instruct people from the Azure portal, the best place in the sandbox to start is resources or resource groups, okay? There shouldn't be many, but it's how it's helpful. And of course, I'm not an admin, so this is probably something where they say if you're using it like you're not supposed to, you're banned. I'm not gonna get banned. All right, so let's go back, and if we go to all resources, we get an error. One moment. All right, so my attempt to have this lab set up in advance, which is here, obviously, because I was logged in, it deactivated this. Apologies, not going to hold us up much, but we're going to have to start over. And I will put my camera on so at least you see if I'm waiting or not. All right, so 4 hours. This is the second of 20 sandboxes that they let me have. I never even scratched the surface of 20, but it's nice to know that you could work for 24 hours if you wanted. And I'm gonna do it again. Pardon password. Good. Now let's go here. And this should set up. Okay, good. Meanwhile, we'll go to the Azure portal and see if we can see some activity. You'll start to see objects appear here. All right, well, like I said, it's a sandbox. Give it a moment. And just to let you know what we're going to be doing, once the server's up, create the database. That happens pretty much instantly. And then we'll go to the Azure portal and we'll look at some of the backups and the characteristics of backups. If you look at, I'm going to pull this out. You do not do a backup from here, but as soon as this comes up, I'll show you that there's some deltas in between here and that you have to do a couple of things. And we will use this query to write some data and prove that we've got it. And then we'll go to the next exercise where we set up the policies and then do destructive test. And like I said, I did this already once today, so it should be working. All right, I'm going to go to this for a moment because this is talking points that I kept in case I had to wait for any of this stuff. What inspired me to go with this backup route was a SQL admin who took it upon themselves to do something more secure than everybody else, and they prevailed. So we know that we want our backups to work, but everybody knows the story that you want to be able to restore things as well, right? So are your backups working? So this is just a little departure. On the APT, you can read into this. We've heard about SolarWinds, Colonial Pipeline in the United States last week, and there's probably your customers' experience are getting them. So this group, they say it's a nation state or state sponsored. In this case, the intel is that it is Iran, or at least Iran paid. And they are coming out, doing the traditional creeping to get in, and they're acting at this current time as private criminals in the beginning, and they do a ransomware attack. And this is conjecture because I have no, I have no authority in one way or the other. But what's happening in the news, the ransomware attack is just to give them more time and to antagonize the customer and I guess to get some money out of them. But their intent ultimately is to destroy the data. This is a malicious, they've gone to password spraying the whole globe. And from what we understand, their mission now is to delete, destroy, exfiltrate data, tamper with it. So that's quite a different thing. We dealing with a criminal who's motivated by greed has some routes that you take, but if people really believe in something or ideology, it's harder, right? So they might not be motivated by money. So I would encourage everybody to take a look at this and keep it handy. It's independent third-party source, and it's got a lot of good, quick information. I used it for when I need to copy and paste something real quick. So I'll get off that. Let's see if we're doing here. Come on. All right, not yet. All right, do I have another item? I do. So this module is a subset of architecture, migration, business continuity, and disaster recovery in Azure, which is exactly why, how I was driven to it by the most significant security incident that one of my customers has been directly involved in. And they did very well, but nobody is perfect. So it's interesting that this very detailed Azure, SQL and Azure would fall under this broader tract, okay? And there's more in that we could have done tons of things in here. But once again, your customers and your competitors have access to this generally for free, all right? So we're on that one. And then I did a collection. Just a simple search, anybody could do this, but it's kind of curated, where I went through and I found everything that would give you any type of real exercise, sandbox environment, not just a tutorial that you have to set up everything yourself, although that's in there, okay? So that's all really from a conversational filler perspective. If anybody has anything to add in terms of sharing training enablement or along these lines of features that may not be well known, feel free to mention it or pop it in the chat or at any time, because that's really what we're trying to do. What do we got here? Global Azure. I hope everything's safe. This is the conference that you mentioned, Tim? That's the next time?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I was just pasting this in the comments.
Yeah. I need to run the next command. Okay. Yeah, shout them out if you know them. All right. So as you see, and someone said run the next command because this has finished, right? So now we create the server. Now we're going to create the database. And this moves more quickly now that this is set up. And one moment. And you are data leaders, data experts. I am not, and that's also why I want to bring this here, because what this has given to me as a non-SME. So our server name is a new name, and it should be okay, good. That's the server we're looking for. So now hopefully that command will work. In case it doesn't, I'm just gonna grab it right here. That was the only real weight that we have is the creating of the server. So we can keep moving on this now. It took it. So good. All right. So that was the server. Did we do the database? It should be right here. Maybe it didn't get made. Let's try again. Okay, good. This will take a moment. This readout is new to me. It's probably more relevant and important to a data community, but upcoming breaking changes in the commandlet new Azure SQL database. So as I was saying that some of the GUI is evolving, and obviously so is this stuff. Okay, so let's go one more time. Let's see what we got. And are we done it? Oh, we're done 1:30. Yeah, we should be fine. I'm gonna pick this up, and if I have to, I'll just explain what happens.
Not a problem.
So, you know, they give you hours to do these, and they can be done quite. There it goes. Still not there. It'll refresh in a moment. All right. So we create the database, and now we're going to go look at the retention policies. I'll keep this moving. Just make sure I'm coming to the right subscription. So I go here, and then when I hover over it, yeah, ending in 8.7. So we really need that other object there, but we'll go here first. Actually, I want to follow the instructions. I was just going to jump right in here. So this is one area where it says on the settings section, set backups, and here is, it's not under settings, but it's under data management. All right, so that's something that has changed. Okay, we'll go to retention policies, and we modify them. Basically, this type of stuff. All right, there's going to be another time we go in here and set up the yearly LTR backups, but it's not anything particularly new, but it does help us do what we need to do. All right, and validation passed, which is nice. Deployment in progress, also nice to see that because I thought it would be done. Now, this is stuff that you have to do, and this is, I'm going to just look at the topics, okay? So we configured the retention policy. We need to allow network access to the database server because, as you know, it wouldn't be allowed by default. We need to add data to the database, and then we'll go to the next step. And this should take a few minutes. Okay, so done. Let's go back here. All right, and done. So they don't want us to do anything else there, so we'll do this now. you got to go into it and go to query from the GUI. There it is. Okay. All right, so look at that. Now, this is a cart before the horse situation. I actually took a screenshot of this morning, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to do this and see if it works. The query should have provided us with that. Let's see, successfully. Okay, good. Let's let it do it. All right, now we'll see. Okay, and it let me in. Okay. Typically, these instructions are not 100% correct, but you would go to your network and firewall settings on the server. I'll show that after I do this query. See, now we put that in there and we run and it succeeded and the results are nothing. That's great. We go back here. Oh, because we set it up and then we have this guy, Lucas. Maybe he wrote it. New query. So this will be query 2. Succeeded. Results. Now this is, now we read it, right? So run the query database, new query, in query 3. 1, 2, 3. And there he is. And that's the one we're going to take out if we have time, and I think we're doing okay. All right, so you now have an Azure SQL database that's populated with data, and you set a retention policy to ensure that you have 4 weeks of data immediately available for restore. Now, this would go back to, this goes into the next thing, which is conversational, and it is, it's written in prose. There's nothing, there's no examples, so I'm going to move on. But the way I like to navigate from here, so I can go back, and if this messes up my my cloud view, I'll have to deal with that. So once again, I'm cherry picking exercises. That's what I like out of this. Everybody will have their own thing. Now, this cloud shell should be the same cloud shell as this. We will see. And this graphic is not 100% accurate, but it is good enough. So as soon as we get signed in, good. All right, once again, the instructions just got to be somewhat intuitive about where they're going to go with it. So it's saying settings manage backups from all resources to the server, which is what I did. And now, nope, I went to the database, my bad. But once again, the navigation isn't 100% accurate. All right, so we'll go here, we'll go here. And this is what we're going to apply, and we're going to add 5 years to the retention period. So and this in the instructions has check boxes and all, but this is how I managed to get it activated. Still not activated because we want week 1 to be done. So I'm going to say 5 years. And now this gives you an option that comes up. So you may have to play with it a little bit as they evolve the interface. All right, that's going, done, done, done. And we go to the next one. All right, this was, I guess I did it at a place. I'm going to go through this anyway. So allowing network access to the database server. So when it prompted me and it whitelisted my IP, it did it as a, kind of as a wizard, which was good, but it's not going to, this is what we want to do because usually we're doing more. Now, yes, was there a question? No? All right, so firewalls, virtual network, this goes quick, add client IP, oops, it's been added there a couple of times. I'm not going to add it again, but you would go here. I just want to edit. Picks up wherever you're coming from, and oh, look, mine had changed. Maybe that's why I had that problem before. And I'm going to allow Azure services to do this. And I am going to save. And that looks good. And then the other next thing, we want to, oh, I must have skipped that part. Add data to the database. And we did query 3. Good. All right. Last part. We're on this. Use PowerShell to do this, to configure long-term retention. And I'm not a typist or anything. Most of the SQL and database owners that I know or admins are hyperactive and very good at typing. So and remembering code. So that is not me. All right. So we set the SQL. This should have gone, and then we'll go here. And I may have to populate this. Yeah, I do. All right. My server name is a new name. There we go. Thank you. Oh, I didn't even notice that server name up there. How about that? All right, good. So we'd be reviewing the policy and we can see stuff in here. There's really not a whole lot of action because we're not doing much. So to review the long-term policy, now let's convert the rest of the policy to meet specifications. So I'm going to do that quickly. And we can look at the GUI after. That'll take a second. Then we're going to read it.
We have a question here. It's if you're a financial firm, does Azure allow differential retentions? SOX requires indefinite retention on some of the transactions.
Well, it does allow different retention. I'll go back into that. As far as indefinitely, my today's information is 99 years. So is that indefinitely? No. But it might outlast some of us. I hope that hopefully that's helpful, and I'll include that reference. Good question. All right. So we did this. We see the policy. Now the policy was configured. We did that. Okay. So now we would go, and they would want us to read more, which I already did. So I'm going to go to my next exercise. Uh-oh. Oh, no, it did. It was checking. I don't know if you saw that. It was checking for my sandbox, and it found it, which is good. So as soon as that command comes up. And I could go back, but I'd rather, excuse me, work off this instruction sheet. And we've got maybe another 5 minutes here, Tim.
Okay.
So we should do. I wanted to leave that other implementation up, and it conflicted with this one and didn't allow me to presto, put the cake in the oven and then have one ready. So there used to be cooking shows on television where they did that, people. All right, good. So let's just go back here and just do what they want us to do. Son of a bitch.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah. Almost there. And our server name is, again, this. Just type that. Okay, so good troubleshooting point. When I came in here to this next panel, it changed my identity or it creeped. Okay, there is some troubleshooting information. I'm not going to go into that. However, this I had it in the lab, and I don't want to waste anybody's time on this. What we do is we do the backup. They're working. We can see. I'm going to go console. And then we drop the table from the database, read it, see that there's nothing in there, okay? And then run a point in time restore, which I just picked the default. So it went to the last available one. And then you can see that it comes back. And how you can view that without PowerShell is in this, oops. Okay, so had I done, if the backup finishes in time, there'll be another object here and it'll be distinguished. And then we can go to that one and use it. When I was doing the SQL Server setup that I was originally going to do, I was very enamored also by the way that it distributed all of its disks and features. It's not so hard to find those references, but I had just done it on the fly, and when I looked at it, it had multiple paths and renditions of where the data was, where the transaction logs are, and everything that you would want. And that was something I wanted to show some polished data scientists because, it's doing it for us now. All right, so we're not going to get the backup out of this. It absolutely works. This alone, so if we were to not try to explain this to anybody, but just get the job done,
Yeah.
For our customers, you could be backing up your databases right here, and that saved the entry point on that cyber attack was a television station in Syracuse, New York. A needle in a haystack. They own thousands of them and other things. So it needs to be done everywhere. It needs to be brushed up. And these APTs are not going away. So that is it. I certainly into elaborating, or I may not be able to answer every question here
Oh, yeah, no problem.
to get them on the book.
Well, hey, everybody. Thank you, Doug. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Strother here? Excellent presentation, and actually timely, right? I mean, it's more practical.
Oh, I wanted to do more, but time constraints. Excuse me, George Carlisle.
Yeah.
Would you elaborate on those questions there a little bit? I'm not arguing. Cloud Shell is for learning, not demo. Okay. Learn Cloud Shell. I meant Azure needs to move annual retention 5 years to 7. What? Talk to me. That sounds like important stuff.
So the Cloud Shell for Learn, it always times out, so you can't really use it for demos.
Right.
When I go through the classes, you almost have to stay on the sessions persistently when you're doing the training. If you even just stop for like 5 minutes, it'll time out. That's why it'll say like you have 1 of 7 sessions, and it'll make you restart those sessions.
I thought that was just me. So you're saying you've got to kind of be agile as going through these, which doesn't make them good for this type of presentation, right?
Right.
So,
That's okay.
No, but I agree. And I had tried to stage it, and to your point, it jacked it up. So, yes, that's good to know. And particularly because I'm telling a lot of people to get to start leveraging this across the board, and I will remind them to stay focused on their exercises in the Cloud Shell. It's really helpful. Any other feedback, any corrections? I am not, the authority here. This is just life is getting great and easy for us in the data world. And Azure is a big part of it. So that is it.
I would agree on that comment. Did you talk about life's getting easier for us in the data world? You can really focus more on architectural and efficiency aspects, because there's so many technologies that answer different questions. Like, can we have a multi-master global replication? Can we have unlimited data store? Can we bring in unstructured with structured data? It's just so many things that.
And the endpoint concept, which you saw demonstrated,
Yeah.
but there's a whole endpoint body of knowledge.
Yep.
That an endpoint to me is this computer getting it there, right? Done. It's not the same thing.
That's right.
Excellent.
That's right.
All right, so I'm going to go on mute. Thank you for your attention and your time, and for having me. And
All right. Got a lot of good jobs, and thank you very much. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you.
I'll hang out for about a minute, and if anybody's got any questions about the chapter, thank you very much. Thank you, Sindre.
Thank you, everyone.
Sure. Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. And this will be